fact, I might just pause this while we wait for it to set up. See, we got a double top across here. We got the trend line across here. We got the resistance line. Really should have been moved down to here by now. I may pause this a minute just so the video doesn't get too long. Alright, here we go. Prices are trying to go lower. I'm going to see if we get triggered here. While we're waiting on that to happen, I'll just show you yesterday. Here's the trend line I had coming up. I actually went slightly into yesterday, but those two swings were so close together. That's where the uptrend started, right there. So that's the reason I actually slipped over into yesterday slightly. But that was the trend line I had coming up off the low for the overnight. You could have gotten a trend line off this high, but it probably would have looked more like that right there. And you can see we did get a break right in here, a pullback, a new low, and then prices were heading higher. But this bigger trend line was the one that was in play, and we had the break right here, and then we were 2 legs up. We didn't make a new high there, but when we ran into all this resistance right here, that was a good sign. We broke the trend line again. We pulled back. You probably could have adjusted this slightly here off this new low, off those new swings, to make it look like, actually that looks like that's it right there, and there was the break. And you can see we came back and tested the trend line to the tick right there, and then we had 2 legs down to a new low. Actually, one of the best trades of the day was right here. I actually recorded that. I'm using some new software, and I have that recording, but there's no sound to it, so I may leave it on YouTube to let you view it. And you can see there was a 2-legged move. I went long right there. It was a nice, easy 4-point move that I made there. And we'll see. If this bar ends as a doji, I'm probably going to scratch this trade. But either way, I still want to show you what's going on right here with the look from yesterday. Again, it's almost exact. We had the break of the trend line, and then we went up and went higher, but it was right in that we had that same kind of overlap. We had the failed break lower right there, and then prices trapped everybody to the low side and then took off. So all right, that bar ended. We got 3 overlapping bars. One of them's a doji now. I didn't get my order out of there in time. Let's see what happens here. I still like this setup, but I'm just afraid it may try to we wait patiently. And you can see that resistance, that support line's acting as resistance now. That's a good sign if we'll turn back down here. While we're waiting on this to follow through, let me show you another thing on the bigger picture here. Got one leg down right there, and then another leg down. That's a second reason I wanted to buy down here. And but on the shorter term picture, we got this leg right here, and then we got a almost perfect measured leg right there. So that's why I went long down here. I hate that trade didn't work out with the volume I got. It was a nice trade. It was a perfect setup, and we really were buying off the low side. Probably should have already had this on here so you could see it. But as you can see, we were buying off the low side of the trend channel line, and that's like a support line right there, and that's why I wanted to buy right there. So, but anyway, I may go back and work on that and maybe see if I can add some audio to it. But again, I'm using some new software, so give me some feedback as to what you think about the quality of it and so forth. But here we go. We're going to try to go lower here. This failed second try up here is a good indicator that we're probably going to go lower here. Prices are really working to get through that EMA, which that's common. Once you get on one side of the EMA, it struggles to get back through to the other side. And this is about the only time you'd want to be taking a short with prices above the EMA is when you've got these other resistance areas that are at your back that are helping you out here. And when this bar completes, we may tighten our stop. We'll see how this pattern sets up and what's going on here. I really believe if we can break below this bar, we'll probably shoot on down here and test this low on a retest. So far, prices are really just not doing much at all. We're just kind of stuck in a little trading range here. But the good thing about it is we're stuck at the high side of a pullback to the trend line. So we have that going for us, and that's why we entered here. Doesn't mean that we can't make another push up. But I do see this as well. One leg up, pull back, second leg. And then one leg up, two-legged pullback, and then a second leg up. So I do see two nice two-legged swings up here, but it wouldn't surprise me if they don't try to run the stops up here. It's really turned into congestion right here. If we don't break lower this time, I may just go ahead and try to get a tick out of this trade, but let's see if we don't break lower. I still like this. I may just be a little early. And that happens to you sometimes, and if you are just happen to be early and you get stopped out, don't be afraid to enter back in if you find out that prices are going in your favor. That you know, sometimes you read the price action right and you just don't quite get the entry right. But that's why I'm always saying be patient. If we'd have been patient, and not entered here and waited it down here, we'd probably got a better trade entry. But still looking like it's going to work out to our favor here. I still like it to the downside. We got everything in our favor. We got the trend line here. We got support that's now acting as resistance. This is a pullback to test that support. Here we go. Okay. All right. Come on. Another tick or two, and we'll get our scalp here. But hopefully you understand now why we took this trade. It's because remember our rules, when the market is trending, and we've been trending down for most of the morning, you want to buy and sell pullbacks to the EMA and trend line. And we had a pullback to a pretty good trend line right here. So that's the reason we look to go short right here. Still need another tick here to get out of this trade. I got a feeling if we can break through, we might shoot on down here. And actually, I'm going to go for 2 points. Unless this thing really starts moving, I may go ahead and give this thing some more room to the downside on our runner. But we'll manage the runner after we get out of the main trade. Look, there we go. All right. We're out of the trade. Our stop moves to break even. Actually, I got it at break even plus 1 there. So the worst that we can do, we've already got $100 in the bank. The worst that can happen is that we make a little over $100, 2 points in a tick. But hopefully we can get this. Actually, 2 points would be right there. So hopefully we can get our 2 points out of this point. This will be a $200 trade. And my phone's ringing. I'm going to pause this 1 second. Okay, sorry, I got tied up on a call there 1 second. Still trying to work out to our favor. Of course, we got support right here, and that's why it's bouncing. And smart trader might go ahead and take his money. Sometimes when you get greedy, you just give money back. But I still like it to the downside. We'll see if they can't fight it on down. But there is support across here, and that's why it's struggling to get on down through there. And we are in the lunch hour of a holiday, in the holiday period, so the market's just slow anyway. A lot of these trades today have been like watching paint dry. This was probably one of my best trades. This is what finished me up for the day, this long right here. And I did get that recorded, and I just hate that it didn't work out, the audio, but we'll look. All right, we're still headed to our 2 points here, and I suspect that this trade may get more than 2 points, but I'm not going to be greedy. Now they're coming back for our stop. There's not hardly any freebies in the market, and one of the things they do is they don't let people hang on for free without taking risk, and the risky trade was entering way up here. But I wanted to demonstrate how I teach. When you get good enough, you could enter blindly up here, but until then, you're better off to trade the way I'm teaching you. And while we're waiting on this to play out, we're either going to get stopped out right here. In fact, you could move your stop down to 1 tick above that, but that's only going to save us 1 tick. So I'm just going to let it play out. We're either going to get stopped out with 1 tick, or we're going to come down here and make 2 points. So we'll see what happens. But again, this setup just like yesterday. We had our upsloping trend line. We had this support area across here, this resistance area across here. And prices were working down across here, and you would have had your support line right there actually in the beginning. And you see we broke through that, but price it held. We had the trend line, and we had a small break of the trend line. But this is what I really want you to see. When this set up right here, you would have had your line drawn across those closes right there, and you see prices broke 1 tick lower right there, turned. So I would have had an order right there, and your runner would have survived on this, and that's a 52 to, that's about a 7 or 8 point move up that you could have had right there easily. And that trade right there made me most of my profits for the day, and this one gave me the rest of them coming down through here. And then I took a little small trade right here that just to demonstrate a trade, and that added me a little bit more, and this is going to give me a little more right here. I'm going to make another $200 if we can get our stop taken out down here. If not, we're going to make a little over $100. So, but hopefully you saw this. I mean, if you watched the video from yesterday and before the open this morning, this is just like, you hear me talk about repeat patterns. This is just a bigger repeat pattern from yesterday, and it was a great setup, a great chance to get long right here at a support area based on the way I taught it before, this trend line, and it really, we had this little trading range and the failed break. I mean, it's almost a complete mirror image of what happened yesterday. And you see what they had, the short trap, prices took higher, and look what we had here. We actually had 2 legs up. There's one leg. I feel sure this other one's about a measured leg, and you can see it's pretty close. Here we go. Prices are trying to go lower. Let's see if we can't go ahead and get our 2 points. What's probably going to happen is prices are going to move on through here and then move on down rapidly, and we're probably going to leave a bunch on the table. But I don't want to be greedy because they could bounce right here because we do have support. And now we got a little double bottom in place, so we may not even get our last tick here. I'm suspecting that we will, but we'll just have to see. We're getting close here. This trade's moving on to a pretty long length as well, so I want to wrap this up. I may just go ahead and close this trade. I'd really like to see the outcome here to see if we'll shoot. Okay, we're bouncing off our order. Come on, one more tick. One more tick. We won't be greedy. We just take our one more tick and we'll go to the house with this trade. Come on. There we go. All right, we're out. Now, as you can see, that trade took a little longer. It's about a 20-minute trade, but it made us $400. And you see where we entered. Remember what I talked about yesterday. You want to enter When the market's trending, you're selling the pullbacks to the EMA or the trend line, and we actually had a trend line coming down through here with a chance to sell. This was probably the only really good one right after the open, but this was the major trend line down here, and could have bought that double bottom right there, and it was good for a trade, so I'll circle that one because I did trade that, and it was good for a scalp. But this was the real setup right there, and it's a failed break below a double bottom, and then prices rocketed higher, and this really did it for me today. This is where I made my money. But look right here at this double. There's you a second entry long during a pullback to the EMA. That's a great setup, and look at that, rocketed out of there. That was an easy trade. Here was another trade over here that was, we didn't have the trend line in place yet, but this was a two-legged move back with a reversal right there. You could have entered here. You would have got stopped. You would have got your scalp, but got stopped out on the way back. But I would have entered again. Actually, I did enter again right there. And so then we had our trend line in place, and there was a great setup right there. And this is almost a repeat pattern to this. You could have waited and gone here, but you were getting so close to the low here that I didn't like that trade. But this one was okay right here because of that big bearish bar. If you went short below that, you had room to get out before you got down here. So that worked out great. This one I don't recommend necessarily for new traders, but that was a great setup, and that was, and like I said, I recorded that one, but it just didn't turn out. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We won't count this one. There's 6 trades before 10:30 this morning. So, and even though it's a trading range, those all met our rules, and they met them easily. So, hopefully you see that. Hopefully this kind of ties into the lesson from yesterday. And hopefully you see that. So I'm going to call it a day. I hope everybody had a good trading week. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we will see you next time.